She tried to test me by sending her best friend to seduce me over text. I declined politely. Later, I showed my fiancée the messages, saying, I pass. The moment she saw the rest of the conversation, where her friend confessed she was instructed, her smirk disappeared, and I'm writing this because I still wake up some mornings convinced I dreamed the whole thing, and then I remember the silence in my condo and the way quiet can be loud when it's earned. So here goes. I'm 31, male, and until a few months ago I was engaged to a woman named Lauren, 29. We were 6 months out from the wedding. Deposits paid, save the dates mailed, our lives arranged, like a spreadsheet with color-coded tabs. And that detail matters because I'm a systems analyst by trade. I live in timelines and dependencies and risk mitigation, while Lauren worked in brand strategy and believed more in vibes and stories and what something felt like. And I used to think that made us complementary, like logic and emotion balancing each other, except in hindsight, it meant we spoke different languages. And I kept assuming translation would happen automatically. We lived together in my condo that I bought before we met. She moved in about a year earlier. We argued about normal wedding stuff, napkin fonts. Her mom wanted to invite people Lauren hadn't seen since middle school, nothing that felt existential. And Lauren had always been a little insecure in a way that I chalked up to nerves. She'd make comments that sounded like jokes but landed funny, like asking if I always tipped the barista extra because she was cute, or why I liked a photo of a fitness model, or whether the new woman in my department was my type. And I'd laugh it off and reassure her, because that's what you do when you think reassurance is enough. Her best friend was a woman named Kayla, also 29. They'd been inseparable since college. The kind of duo that finished each other's sentences and shared passwords and inside jokes. Kayla thrived on drama the way some people thrive on oxygen. And I was polite to her for Lauren's sake, but never comfortable. There was always this sense that she was. Watching and cataloging. Like everything was content for a future story. Then one Tuesday evening I was on my couch reviewing a technical spec when my phone buzzed with a text from Kayla saying, hey, you working late? And that alone was odd because we weren't that kind of friends. I replied, yeah, wrapping up a project, what's up? And she said, I'm bored Lauren's at Pilates. And I was thinking you're always so nice. And I remember pausing because my brain flagged it as anomalous behavior. I asked if she was okay, and she said, I am now. You know, Lauren's lucky. Sometimes I wonder if she really appreciates what she has. And my stomach dropped, not because I felt flattered, but because alarms went off. This didn't feel like attraction. It felt like bait. My first thought wasn't that she was hitting on me. It was that this was a test. And the problem with tests is that they assume guilt. So I slowed down, didn't respond immediately, thought through the outcomes. If I ignored it, she could claim later I hit it. If I shut it down too hard, she could frame me as overreacting. So I replied, carefully saying I wasn't sure what she meant and that Lauren and I had a great relationship. And she escalated. Hypothetically, if you ever felt unsatisfied, I think you're really attractive and I'm more fun than she is just saying our secret. Then she sent a photo, nothing explicit, just her in pajamas making a kissy face. But it was enough. It crossed a line, and I felt this mix of anger and disappointment and a weird calm because now the pattern was visible. I responded clearly and politely telling her I loved Lauren. I was going to marry her. The conversation was inappropriate. It needed to stop, and for Lauren's sake, I pretended it didn't happen if Kayla never did again. I set my phone down feeling sick, knowing I had to tell Lauren, but dreading the fallout. Then 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed again with Kayla saying, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I feel stupid. Can I be honest? And there it was, the backpedal. She said Lauren made me do it. She's been freaking out saying you're too perfect and too good at hiding things. She wanted me to test you. I told her it was crazy. Please don't tell her. I told you she'll kill me. She's just insecure. Be nice to her. And I stared at the screen and felt something click into place. The anger wasn't explosive. It was cold, precise, like a diagnosis. This wasn't betrayal by Kayla alone. It was orchestration by Lauren, and suddenly all those jokes weren't jokes. They were data points. And when Lauren came home smelling like eucalyptus and smiling and asked how my day was, I kept my voice level and said it was fine and that we needed to talk. I showed her the first part of the conversation, Kayla's messages, the photo, my refusal, and I watched Lauren perform shock like she'd rehearsed it, calling Kayla Snake, reaching for a phone, and I stopped her and she hesitated and then smiled, and said, wow, you really told her. Off, that's good, you passed. And that word hit me wrong. Passed. I asked what she meant and she laughed and said it was just a loyalty test, a silly thing, that she knew I'd do the right thing, that Kayla always said men couldn't be trusted and she wanted proof. And she leaned in to kiss me and I put my hand up and said, "It's funny you say that because I don't think Kayla was the one who failed the test." And I scrolled down and showed her the confession. And her face drained of color, the smirk evaporated, replaced by panic. And I said we needed to talk about our wedding. And that's when everything blew up. Lauren didn't apologize. She accused me of trapping her, of manipulating Kayla into confessing, of ruining everything by not just deleting the text like I was supposed to. She said everyone does this, that it wasn't a big deal, that I was sneaky for getting proof, that I was the monster. And hearing that word monster directed at me after what she'd done felt surreal, like we were in different rooms. And something inside me shut off. The affection evaporated, replaced by resolve. I told her pack her things, that the wedding was off, that I couldn't marry someone who thought this was acceptable. She said I wasn't allowed to break up with her. I said I was. And I left to stay with a friend while she screamed behind me. The next day, the financial reality set in. My parents had put down a non-refundable $20,000 deposit on the venue as a gift. Lauren's parents had paid for her dress and flowers. I'd bought the ring myself for $12,000 cash. And when I called my parents, they were angry and then supportive, and my dad said it was the cheapest divorce I'd ever get. But Lauren didn't tell her parents the truth. Instead, her mother, Susan, called me crying, saying Lauren claimed I'd been inappropriate with Kayla and canceled the wedding in a rage and was holding her belongings hostage. And my blood ran cold because I recognized the pivot, the quiet smear, the narrative warfare. So I asked to meet her parents without Lauren and brought my phone and let the text speak, and I watched their faces change as they read, from anger to confusion to humiliation. And when I left, I felt drained but lighter. The truth had weight, but also had gravity. It pulled things back into alignment. Lauren sent Kayla to collect her things. Kayla tried to blame me, said I was supposed to say no and delete it, that I was a psycho for digging, demanded the ring as emotional compensation. And that's when I called a lawyer. And months later in small claims court, when Lauren tried to paint me as controlling and abusive, and Kayla lied on the stand, my lawyer introduced a witness, Kayla's ex, a man named Eric, who testified that Kayla and Lauren had done the same thing before, that this was an insecurity. It was a pattern. And the judge ruled in my favor, ordered the ring returned, called their behavior malicious. And when I sold the ring and sat alone in my condo, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free in a quiet, exhausted way, like someone who finally escaped a maze and realized the point wasn't winning. It was leaving, and I'm still processing the loss, the money, the time, the trust, but I know this. I didn't dodge a bullet. I dodged a lifetime of being tested by someone who thought love was a game, and if that cost me deposits and sleep and a year of my life, then that's the price of clarity, and clarity, as it turns out, is expensive but worth it.